for the Empowering You Show. This is a lively television show that is a driving force to positive transformation in every viewer's life. Our goal is simple. It is to elevate our audience members with clear, practical, helpful advice and engaging activities. We're here dedicated to sparking a journey of self-growth and empowerment, making sure each episode is a step towards professional and personal achievement. That's how we empower you on the Empowering You Show. So get ready, it's time. Yes, it's time again for the Empowering You Show. I am so happy you showed up. And if you're not showing up live, please, in the comments, do a hashtag replay so we'll know how many people are watching. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe so you don't miss any of our exciting episodes. We talk to business owners, leaders, and people doing phenomenal things in the community. We want to talk today to Shawnee Smith. She is sexy, sassy, so smart. That's Shawnee Smith.
Hello. It's Thursday again.
I love your glasses.
You do.
You try to come in.
Look, they are so nice. I do like them. My personality totally changes with each pair of glasses.
How many pairs of glasses do you have?
Like 8.
Okay. All right.
Like 8. So I have red ones, I have these, whatever. And sometimes, believe it or not, my voice even changes when I put them on.
I can't with you.
I'm serious. It's the same effect that you saw happen when I had lashes on. Same thing happens with glasses.
I can't with you. I'm just saying.
Same thing happens. I'm sorry. Same thing happens. And I had to put them on because yesterday I was bored out of my mind at work. Okay? Bored out of my mind at work.
How did that happen?
Because I had to sit through a training that was worse than, I don't want to say gouging my eyes out because I really don't know how bad that is, but it was bad. And there was I'm a Toastmaster, right? So there were so many ums and ahs, and I already kind of got annoyed by that. But the fact that I felt that no one was listening to what the real problem was.
What was the real problem?
The real problem is that they don't understand how to motivate people.
Ooh.
And, they keep trying to come up with ideas of like how much they can, what if we gave them overtime for blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, you're not listening. You don't see it.
Do they
Money is not the motivator here.
Do they ask people what motivates them?
No.
Let's stop there for a second. In leadership training, you have to know what people want. It's the same thing in business.
Mm-hmm.
What's the pain point? Some people are motivated by money, but many are not. Some people just need to know that you think they're doing a good job, or you know that they're doing a good job. Some people need time off so that they can spend more time with their families. But how will you know
if you don't ask?
Unless you ask.
Oh my goodness.
Unless and until you ask the question. So then that begs the question of how do you ask? Do you walk up to each and every employee and say, so what do you need?
No.
Why not? It's direct.
No.
It's the answer.
No.
No, absolutely not. It needs to be an anonymous way so that people can feel free to put down their emotions and their verbiage and their communication.
Right. And there needs to not be a barrier either. When you make this anonymous, easy way, it cannot be a situation that I find it cumbersome, because then I also will not do it.
Now, what I find is easiest is to have a session where you get everybody together and you lead them through something that's fun and engaging to fill out the form. I use Multimeter. Multimeter is an interactive software that you do on your cell phone. Mm-hmm. Now, most of the time you go into a leadership meeting, people are telling you, put your phone on mute, put your phone on vibrate, turn your phone off. But when you
Don't
go
worry.
into training with Barbara H. Smith and BHS and Associates, we tell you turn your phone on. And that in and of itself is a shock.
Right.
Because right away, you know that that's a distraction if you're not engaging. But what the software does is allows people to answer questions anonymously, and the answers show up on the screen. And so now you have captured the data, because you can download after the event, conference, or retreat, or whatever it is, you can download the results so that you can analyze the data. And everything's in the data.
Right. And I believe something like that makes people more open to tell the truth, because now they can see for themselves that it's anonymous. Like
Right.
if I put in something and nothing pops up, okay, I feel safe now. I feel safer,
Right.
at least anyway, to throw it out there and maybe you bring it up, to sit and be in a situation where somebody is just talking at you, like, we can give you this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, they didn't ask for any of that. We didn't ask for any of those things. It's really
Not only talking at them, Shani, but reading to them. So one of my all-time pet peeves is don't read to me. I am an adult. And so
What's that mean? You're an adult. What's that mean?
that means I can read.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what are we talking about? We're talking about presentation skills and communication skills for leadership. When you have a PowerPoint, you are supposed to make points on the screen, and you're supposed to know your information so well that those points cause you to go into the conversation. It is not called paragraph. It's called PowerPoint. That's why you should not have paragraphs as bullet points, because they're not bullet points, they're paragraphs, and then proceed to read each and every word on the paragraph. That's annoying, and it's rude. It is rude to read to grown adult people who have at least a high school education.
No, see, I never even thought about it that way. But it is, though, because you're like, oh my gosh. Like, seriously? You could have sent, usually I'm like, you could have sent an email with this.
It's
I didn't
rude.
come for this.
And most all human beings are visual. They're visual beings. So if you want to be engaging, you want to have as few words on a slide as possible. And I teach, when I'm doing communications training and I'm teaching presentation skills in that training, I teach people, I ask the question, who are the slides for? 99.9% of the people who have never heard me present say the slides are for the audience. That is not true. Not true. The slides are for the presenter to remember or recall or get jarred what they want to talk about. You want an image so that everybody can get their own perspective, because I can say the same thing to you as I said to the next person, as I said to the next person, and each of you will hear it differently.
Right.
But if you give everyone the same visual, now they can visually interpret in their own way. Some people are audible learners. Some people are visual learners. Some people have to have the stats that go along with it.
Right.
And when you put an image up, whether it's a stat, whether it's an image, whether it's a visual, you give the audience a broader opportunity to interpret it in their own way. And then your bullet points are for you, speaker, presenter, trainer, person, to remember what are the points I want to make about this.
Right. Or to get back on track if you got off track.
Right.
So what's frustrating is what I'm finding in the workplace is that the demographic has changed significantly. And when I just say like demographic, I don't just mean like men versus women or young versus old even. I mean, there are different challenges that I'm seeing in the way that people learn.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that be stemming from anxiety, whether they could possibly be on the spectrum, whether they're dealing with any kind of trauma or just inexperience, there's
Right.
just so many different types of personalities that we're dealing with and ways to learn. And it's so frustrating when a company is just determined to stay back in, say, 25 years ago, when the dynamic has changed so much from even 5 years ago, because now we're dealing with post-pandemic.
Yeah.
So
that's a whole thing, post-pandemic. Who even heard of this 4 or 5 years ago? The post-pandemic. It sounds like the post-World War II era. The
I mean, literally,
post-industrial.
it's kind of like that. It was. I'm so grateful. I'm very blessed that it didn't have that impact on me. But
Right.
I do recognize how so many people were impacted.
Yeah.
In a negative way.
There's nobody that has experienced, that has been through that pandemic period. There's nobody that you can talk to that doesn't either have someone in their family or know of somebody who did not pass away during that time. That grief in and of itself is enough for some people not to get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And now you want them to learn. Now you want them to go back into the workforce after they've lost their mother, after they've lost their father, their child, their sister, their brother, somebody who was significant in their lives. And now you want them to go back to before this happened,
mm-hmm.
to do the same job that they were doing without the trauma. And so that's a very interesting point that you brought up, Shani. There has to be some empathy. Empathetic leaders is also one of the things we train on. Empathy when it comes to what the employee is experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can tell you, if you don't know what empathetic leadership is, or you're not employing empathetic leadership and you are a leader, you're missing the mark when it comes to engaging your employees. Employees are still quiet quitting. They're still sitting at their desks,
astronomical numbers,
pretending they're doing work or doing just enough to get by. How do you engage? It's an opportunity for leaders to get in there and understand what is going on and how they can help. Some of them don't care. Some of them don't want to do it. Some of them just are there to get their paycheck, leaders I'm talking about. But what if you are one of those leaders and you genuinely are concerned about the people that report to you? How about you're concerned about the organizational goals, the strategic plan, mm-hmm. and it's not moving forward because your workforce is disengaged? You need to call BHS and Associates. We got a plan for you.
Right. Because the answer is not, if you're a big company, the answer is not throwing money at them. But if you're a small company, that might not even be an option.
Right.
Where is the extra money? How do you get people motivated? Right. And that's the mark that so many people are missing. And I'm seeing it every day. And initially I'm at fault too. I'm guilty too. I have 8 people that report to me. And I'm like, oh, they're so lazy. They're so entitled, But my company is coming from a place where we never had the opportunity to work hybrid. Now, after COVID, we work hybrid. You should be grateful that we let you work hybrid still. So many companies took it back. And I'm like, okay, so that's not the angle. And especially since all of our new people coming in, they only know hybrid.
Right.
So
that's so good. That's so good, because it's like the students now that don't know what it's like not to have a computer. Unheard of.
Right.
And I'm talking, a cell phone is a computer. You
right.
can search and you can write and you can do all the things there. They have no recollection. I saw a clip from Jennifer Hudson's show. She brought her nephew on. Did you see that episode? She brought her nephew on, and she had one of the rotary dial phones on her desk. And it didn't have a cord connected to anything. It had a cord, but it wasn't connected to nothing. And she said to him, "You do know what this is, right?" He says, "I think it's a telephone." Mm-hmm. She said, "Yeah, it's a phone, but I'm going to need you to look at this here." She had a Rolodex on the desk as well. "I'm going to need you to look in here and find a number for this person and dial the number." You want to talk about hilarious? Flipping through the files, first of all, trying to find somebody's name. And then when he found the person's name, he put his finger in the dial and was going the opposite way. Said, "That's not how you do it."
Right. And you got to hit that. You got to hit that thing, right? If you don't hit it all the way, you didn't hit it. Like that.
But it took us. It took
Wow.
me back for a second. That
Right.
wow, look where we've come from, and how many people
Mm-hmm.
have never seen a phone like that or know how to operate it. That's the same thing that we're experiencing right now. That's an analogy of they don't know how to function in this new reality. That's for the people who are in leadership. They
Right.
don't know how to function in this new reality. They don't know how to dial the phone in the new reality because it's not dial up anymore. It's
Right.
digital. And the audience, the employees need us leaders to step up and meet them where they are.
Exactly.
You got to meet them
Exactly.
where they are. And how do you know where they are?
You
You
have
have
to
to
ask them.
ask.
You have to ask them. You literally, it's almost when you're in kindergarten, your teacher always, or hopefully you had that kind of teacher, always kneels down and comes down to your level, right? And then you can go together, you have this comfort, this trust. What I'm dealing with is like nothing I've ever seen. I couldn't have prepared for the shift to be so fast. It was almost like it was overnight. And I'm like, okay, how do I get through? How do I get through? And I'm trying to talk to leadership like that is not, or upper leadership. That's not going to work for these guys. They don't care about any overtime. You're dangling it's not going to work. I mean, they went so far as to say we need overtime so bad that if you do 10 hours per week, you can even have an extra work from home day next week, and they still won't do it.
They have to they have to ask what's important to them,
Right, and then that's not that.
and you can't just ask. You have to learn. It's all about learning. And speaking of learning, machine learning, if you have to, go to Chat GPT or Gemini or Bard or somebody and ask, what do they need today?
Mm-hmm.
And then use those tools and techniques. You have see this age we live in is the greatest age of life so far. We thought we had something when the internet was created and you could search for things. Now with the advent or the usage, because it's been a long time since AI has been out, we just didn't use it. Now, since the use of AI is so pervasive in our communities, in our world, you have no excuse, leaders. You have no excuse not to find out what people need. You have no excuse.
Right.
Because even if you don't know from asking them in your organization, asking the employee, asking the coworker, asking whoever, you could ask a robot and
Literally.
they'll go out all over the world and pull information
Mm-hmm.
in a second to get the information.
And then they can have BHS and Associates, a company like that that'll come in and hold your hand and help you get through and be effective leaders.
We'll even go so far as to explore the information for you. We will dig the information up for you, give you the statistics, because it's not difficult to find the information.
Right.
There's information out on the Census Bureau. There's information out on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There's information everywhere around us. And all you have to do is research and ask. The question becomes, are you asking the right questions? Because garbage in,
garbage out.
You get garbage out. So you have to know what questions to ask. You have to know what questions to ask of your employees. You have to know what questions to ask of the AI bots. You have to know how to formulate the questions because you have to ask good questions to get good information.
Then how do you understand if you're able to give the people what they need as the employer, as the leader? How do you know you have the resources or the ability, capability even to give them what they need?
There are so many resources that are not expensive and or free.
Mm-hmm.
The way you find out is you test. Just like anything else that you create, you have to test and you have to document. When I offered money, when I offered overtime Nobody bought. That's a test. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody signed up. That's a test. The results are 0 interaction. That's the result. And then the resolution is that did not work. So now we got to do another.
Yeah, common sense, that. But I'm not dealing with that. So now what do I do? I'm not me personally, leadership, because they keep offering it. Like, well, what about this way? Like, they don't.
That's not working.
Want the money.
That's not working. Money is not a motivator for everyone.
No.
What is it that they want? Do they want more time off? They have to try a different angle. Mm-hmm. Do they want time off? Do they want advancement opportunities? Do they want leadership coaching? Do they want executive training? Do they want a day at the park?
Right.
What do they want? Because unless and until you hit the pain point, you resolve the pain point, nothing you do is going to be good. But leadership has to be willing to listen. Now, if you have leadership that is not willing to listen, there's really nothing else you can do except find other employment. Because it's going to be the same rat wheel. Mm-hmm. It's the same rat wheel. You're not listening. You're going to do the same thing over and over. You're going to get the same results. Anybody that does the same thing over and over and is expecting different results, that's a sign of being crazy.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Completely.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. Cray.
With a capital Y, huh? Okay.
So in all seriousness, it's a huge conundrum. It's a huge issue. It's a huge problem. It's a huge situation. If you are a leader, mid-level, high level, supervisor, it doesn't matter. And you can't get the result that you're looking for with the effort that you're putting in. If you're putting in the effort and you're not getting a result, then you need to change the effort.
Period.
Is it? It's simple. It's a simple formula. It's not easy though. Right. Simple formula. I put in X, I'm expecting Y, I get 0. Then you got to put in something else. Put in an L. See if you can get an X at the end.
And what I'm finding is this: if we get 5 out of this 50 that we're shooting for, okay, so it works. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work. That 1 + 1 is not 2, not at all.
But again, wait now. If you're only expecting the 10% out of 50, that is success. But if you're looking, you have to know, what is your end game? What is your end goal? If the end game is I need 25%, 20% of people to say yes out of 50, then 10% is a failure. But you have to have the target. Mm-hmm. What's the target? What's the end game? What's the end goal? And so knowing what your target is, if you're missing the target, then your effort is not successful. Then when your effort is not successful, then we have to come a different way. It's the same thing in business. We have a target to reach, let's say, $100,000 by the end of the month. 20% is not a success. No. We have a target. And if that target is not met, then let's go back and do the debrief and see what worked, what didn't work, and be quick to abandon what didn't work. Don't keep holding on to it. That's not how you succeed. It's not working. We did a campaign not too long ago. No one showed up. What's wrong with this picture? We did the analysis. What's wrong with this picture? Why didn't it work?
Right.
We discovered some things, and so we pivot. We move to something else. That's the same thing in every area of life. If you have a goal, and when that goal is not met, depending on how far away the target is, you have to pivot. You have to rearrange. You have to discover what it is. It's like having a bullseye and shooting over here. Bullseye's here and you shooting over there. You're hitting nothing and you're going to keep shooting over there? That doesn't make sense.
I mean, it's literally happening. How many stores do you walk into and there's no one working, and the few that are pretty much incompetent, and but they say they're hiring. So if there's so many people out here that need a job, and all these people are hiring for a job, and then the ones that you get are totally demotivated to do anything more than what they're asked to do, what do? You got to get some leadership training because something's not right. Something is effectively wrong here. There's 2 stores that I can think of that I can go into, and I always have good service, and I will always have efficiency. And that's Chick-fil-A and the restaurant store. And outside of that, I'm not.
What's the other store?
The restaurant store. The restaurant store always has at least 15 to 20 people on staff. They take your stuff to the car. The minute you walk in the door, hi, how you doing today? So whatever they're doing from a leadership standpoint is working. Do you think that Chick-fil-A make $50 an hour? Absolutely not. In fact, they tend to have high schoolers, but they have trained them all and led them all in a way to follow out the mission.
Leadership is huge. If you're looking at a company that's failing, you need to look to the leadership. If you look into a company that's succeeding, you need to look to the leadership. And so leadership training is essential. Good leadership training, because people get leadership training in all the time, and the people are falling on the floor asleep, and they're not learning anything. So I will come to Delaware anytime. Tell them you have a leadership training expert in the building, and I can help you.
Working. It's not working.
BHS and Associates can help with that. I can help with that. We can help with that. So if you're listening today, we'd love to hear if you have leadership challenges. Drop them in the post in the channel, and let us know what leadership challenges you see that need rectification. You see that need help. You're working out there and you're a leader and you want some concrete, clearly laid out steps, strategies, tips, and techniques. We can help you at BHS and Associates. We'd love to help you solve your leadership concerns at BHS and Associates. Just go to barbarahsmith.com and you can get an appointment. We would love to have a conversation with you.
Listen, because it's so mind-numbing. It's defeating too, because what happens is when you have leadership that's failing you and you do care, but it's not working because upper management doesn't assist you with, what you're trying to carry out, you become demotivated. And then if the few people that do care lose their interest, you're in trouble.
It's bad. It's bad.
Bad.
And there are many companies. I was having a conversation with another leader and explaining that customer service is another one of those things that is lacking in today's world. And it goes right back to leadership. What is leadership saying about the customer service? Are they doing customer service surveys to find out if the customers are happy? And if they're getting the results back and the results are not positive, then leadership needs to make a change.
Right.
And many are not concerned about that. Many are concerned about getting their paycheck, and that's the end of the story. That's it. That's all. And that's not good for the consumer. You go into a restaurant, you go into a store.
Right.
It's terrible. So when you find good leadership and when you find good customer service, make a note to let them know. Let them know. I was recently in a Walmart, and Walmart had fallen off for me as far as customer service. And they now, at least the Walmart that's by me, they now have associates standing at the front of the store, not behind the register, but standing in the front of the store. Can we help you? Did you find everything you need? I was like, have a nice day. I was like,
you talking to me?
I walked out and came back. I said, let me tell, and it was a really young person. I said, let me tell you something. I am ecstatic that you asked me how I was doing today. And he was shocked. I said, because I was getting a little concerned about the customer service in Walmart. You've given me new hope for Walmart customer service. And he said, thank you, ma'am. And I said, again, this is good. This is good stuff.
And you made his month. I'm going to say his day. You made his month. real quick, funny story, probably not so funny, but I joke all the time and say the kids today are not the children that Whitney Houston was singing about when she said children of the future. Because I was at a store. The stuff came to $6.29, but I thought it said $6.28, right? So I gave her a 20 and 28 cents. And then I'm like, wait, did you say 29? Oh, let me grab a penny. She said, don't worry about the penny. Now, what does that mean? That means don't worry about the penny, right? She proceeds to give me $13.99 back. I said, no. That is not what that. Don't worry about the penny means you're still going to give me back my right. It's like, no, here, let me get a penny for you. Take that 99 cent back and put it in your till. What?
Children are not being taught how to count back money now. And I just heard New York just issued the first digital coin.
Oh, wow.
It's
So
not good.
Technology is making them like less and less. You know how many phone numbers I knew when I was a kid? My mom even had a friend whose number was so original, it was letters in it, right? So I'm like, I knew Evelyn's number was GR7, is how it started off, and then blah, blah, blah. Like, I knew everybody's phone number.
I don't know nobody's number now. I know my mother's and my husband's. That's it. Oh, and my church. I know those numbers. That's it. And my sister. I do know that. That is it.
It sounds like you know some numbers then.
4. There's 4 numbers. Out of 1,000 in my phone book. Oh, we don't have phone book. In my contact list.
At least you didn't say Rolodex. But I do remember playing with that on my desk, like spinning it around and being concerned about filling it up, in fact. I'm like, I gotta add some more to my Rolodex. That was a big deal, you know. And then I got one that had a cover so it wouldn't get dusty. I thought I was doing something.
Don't tell nobody. Okay.
Oh, right, because I'm 20. I'm 29. Right. I'm actually having a 30th birthday party this year.
Wall Street Hackers is up next. Don't miss it. You know what time it is. It's time for you to stop making excuses. There's have a gift. Stop making excuses. It's time for you to step into your greatness because the world is truly waiting for you. Thank you so much for being here, Shani Smith. It's been a wonderful conversation about leadership. We're looking for leaders all the time that need help. Thank you so much. Want to be on the Empowering You show? Reach out. Support@BarbaraHSmith.com. Support@BarbaraHSmith.com, and Shani Smith will take care of you. That's our time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.